Hey, everybody, and happy Black History Month. We thought it would be so fitting at the end of the first week in February to just talk about the history of Black History Month, give some insight and why we need to know our history, what happens when we don't. And I have none other than my amazing Auntie Gwen Knowles here, one of the co founders of the Harambee Learning and Culture Center. I'll let her explain what that is, why the need for it is so great. Now we're waiting on my mama. Sometimes with technology, sometimes with boomers, technology isn't the best, but I think I see her coming on now. I will let my aunt, her name is Gwen, but we know her as Auntie Cookie. So if I say Auntie Cookie, don't judge me. I always say that I give that disclaimer because people are like, who's that? Her, Auntie Cookie and Gwen Knowles are one of the same, okay? So please introduce yourself. Let us know who you are. And then I'm going to bring my mom on.
Hi, my name is Gwen, as Stephanie said, and I am just a lover of all things Black. And Black history just is a passion, and I think I've said it many times in the past. I'm not even really sure where all the I know where all the knowledge has come from and learning it, but just with the retention of it, there's just things that I can just pull off the top of my head, like it's nothing, almost like it's experiences that I have lived, in some of the history of people, like I know so deeply and intimately. It's almost like, how do you know that? I just love history. I am a history buff overall, but Black history does hold a special place in my heart.
Absolutely. And I can attest to that, to you just knowing so much about Black history. I mean, when it's in you, you don't even need a script or anything. It's just like it's here. And it's like the little like quirky tidbits, like, why do you know that? How do you know that? Where did you pick that up? So I love that. Let me come on and bring on my mom. Let's see if this technology is working. Hi, mommy.
Hi.
Awesome. We can hear you. That's great. That's great. Great, great, great.
That is, because I
Yes.
remember this particular technology last time. I felt like a prisoner. I could see you guys. I knew
But
you could see me, but no
we couldn't hear
sound
you.
coming out.
Exactly.
So thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So please introduce yourself. I have already just opened us up saying that it was so fitting that in the last day of the first week of February, that we're just going to give some insight in history into what Black history is. And I can't think of two better people. You taught me everything I know. Both of you, you instilled that. So please introduce yourself to everyone, and then we'll just get into the need for Black history, why the Harambee Learning and Culture Center was even created. So please go right ahead, mommy.
Amen. Hello, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Jones, and just about a lifelong resident in Brockton, but a lifelong resident plus of Black history. I thank God for my parents. Sometimes, we have to know that concept of lemons out of lemonade. Both of my parents grew up in the segregated South. And the advantage I feel that it gave to their 4 children is that we are very conscious of who we are as Black people. We have a love and appreciation for the struggles and the trials, but also for the triumphs and the treasures. And I can't say that how much of the experience, if it had not been like it was, would not have shaped us. So no shade to the people that have parents that were born in the North and your grandparents were born in the North. I get all that. But I just know that for us, I feel that we had a special love and passion that grew because of our parents, that their own formative years, they only knew Black history. That's all they knew. So that which was meant for evil turned into good. That's the only way I can look at it. So I, again, and could not have been happier to partner with my sister, with my nieces, with my daughter on looking how Harambee Learning and Cultural Center can be integral in helping to spread the joy and the love and truly that magic of black history. I mean, as cliche as it sounds, if you don't know your history, you can't possibly know your future because you have nothing to base it on. So when I hear someone that says, it could be a young Black person that says, oh, I don't know if I could be, all of a sudden someone will pop in my mind that I know historically has done that or has given the base for that, right? So I look at that, I could love it. It is who we are. And I look forward to, continued growth. I mean, legacies continuing, that will have an appreciation, love, and most of all, learn something new every day. As a lover of, believe it or not, I learn something new. I commit myself to learn something new every day. And so for me, LinkedIn has been a great source of just new Black knowledge, just something today. So again, I'm passionate, glad about being here. And Stephanie, and I did send you an email. It might have been arriving a little late, but it is the Lift Every Voice and Sing that your aunt found. So I didn't know. It's only 4 minutes. I was hoping maybe that you could play it, whether toward the end or now or something, but I did send you that particular rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing that your aunt located, called the Balm of Gilead. And I know that she and I went to do a presentation, and one of the things I felt was sort of a downer. We went to this particular church and they would not allow it. They had said some tech issue, but they wouldn't allow us to show that. And I feel that, you know, just seeing it. So I did send it to you. It is in your text. So at some point, I hope it can be featured during this discussion.
Awesome. I mean, we can do it right at the end. What better way than to end on our national anthem? And maybe we can do that. You know, listeners, hey, everybody, good evening. God bless you. We're going to try to do this every Friday in Black History Month, just giving these tidbits. I mean, both of them just such a well of knowledge of Black history facts. And this is a lifelong thing, right? So I do want us to get into the need for why we even created the Harambee Learning and Culture Center, and then talk about, the need for knowing our history. Before we went live, I was telling Honey Cookie, like, in the Bible, it says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Are we perishing? Are we going down a wrong path because we're not aware or we don't know our history? So, Auntie, I'll turn it back over to you. What was the reason, and Mom, I know you're going to jump into this too, what was the reason for even starting the Harambee Learning and Culture Center? It started around a pandemic, unheard of, like what was the reason for that, and the push and need for that?
The thing that people are talking about now in regards to representation matters. And representation matters. There's still so much unlearned Black history, just as Jackie had just mentioned about learning something new every day. I recently found out something within the last 2 weeks about Barbara Johns, who down in Virginia had a protest about the lack of good materials and stuff within their school. It was dilapidated. And she led a protest to walk out of school in 1951, which was, 3 years before the Brown versus the Board of Education. So there were always people that were doing something. Some just got more representation than others, but there was always people doing something. I think that, was deliberate to keep stuff down so that you can give the false impression that, oh, there's only a few people that are unhappy about this. Everyone else finds this to be okay. So I feel that Harambee is an extension of Carter G. Woodson's dream. He created it was Negro History Week then in 1926 because of the lack of representation that he was born in 1875, so 10 years after everything with slavery. But he's like a contemporary of people like James Weldon Johnson. So he knew that there were Black people that were doing things, that there was stuff happening, but it was not represented in the history books. So he single-handedly created this Negro History Week because of what he did not see. So I feel that Harambee is an extension of that. We're trying to create this cultural center because of what we don't see, and also because everything that Carter G. Woodson stood for and fought for is trying to be erased.
Come on now. That's the main thing. We're going to get into all this. And we don't have to do it all tonight. Every Friday, we're going to try to do this, Lord permitting, God willing, because we're having to combat the critical race theory and trying to erase the history My tagline is Black history is American history. There's no separation of them. What happened in this country qualifies as American history, right? So, and someone in the comments, my good sister Jeanette, she said, Black History 365. There's no turning this off. We don't have the luxury of saying, oh, I don't want to think about Black history. Every time we look at our skin, every time we see ourselves, this is our Black history. We remember the struggle, and then I'm just like, there's no erasing this thing. I don't care if you try to hide it. And it's like when all this stuff broke with George Floyd's murder, people were realizing, even in their own communities and towns, like, we've been lied to. White people are realizing this, like, we've been lied to. Southern people are like, hold on, you guys said the slaves enjoyed being in slavery and that they were friends and they were getting paid. Black history is needed, and it's a shame that our kids don't know it, right? Because we were taught it. I didn't learn it in school. I learned it in homeschool, okay? We were taught what was going on. So, Mommy, can you just share just about the origins? Auntie Cookie had mentioned Carter G. Woodson. Explain that, the length of time that changed and things like that and why it was created. And we'll kind of get into some history like that.
Absolutely. So as Auntie Cookie fondly mentioned, that it began as Negro History Week. In 1976, it changed to Black History Month. So if you can imagine, the 70s were this new awakening, kind of fueled by a lot of the protests from the 60s. We didn't want to be Negro anymore. Which is interesting, Negro is a Spanish word for Black, but we went to being Black. And so it was like, we don't just want a week, we need a month. And even the month, what I like to think of during that time, and I know I don't see them that often, and I just may need to broaden where I look, but I remember growing up, there were these Black history calendars. They had something every single day. And I think it was to highlight the point that Black history is not just 1 month, it is 365. And so I'd like to get another calendar. Any listeners out there know where that's from? I want one because I remember that's something I enjoyed. Again, we had that up in our house. Right? So it became, so the importance of it is just knowing who we are, because I think that if someone, this is what James Baldwin, he said, if you have convinced a person that they do not have the right to go front door, that the back is the only place they belong, then when you build a house, even though it doesn't have a back door, that person will dig one out with their bare hands, right? And so when I looked at that, it is, so if a child was a slave, right? So imagine a slave child. And if that slave child got the message, you're going to be a slave because I was a slave. And then that child raises his or her child to do what? You're going to be a slave because I was a slave. Just think of that, right? What do I know? But then you got that one person that said, I may be a slave, but before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave, right? That's when it began. Like, just because I'm a slave now doesn't want to be one forever. And my child definitely is not going to be one. So I think the reason why all this history is important, and how Harambee has begun to shape, really, just like many things shaped out of the protest, when we decided to reclaim Juneteenth as an actual celebration of the time and an acknowledgement of what happens when people don't know, Juneteenth helped to inspire Harambee, because it made us think about that one group of slaves in Texas. Look how they were harmed by not knowing. Multiply that by the millions of African Americans in our country. And what are the things that we do not know, and how are we harmed? So when you have young men that join gangs, this is what they know. What about flipping that into, you can join fraternities, you can form a society of Black scientists, you can form a club of rappers. You see what I'm saying? If they need that sense of belonging, there are positive ways, but they may not know about it. You see what I'm saying? Young ladies that feel, they have to display themselves to get attention. We talk about the beautiful but sensuality of Josephine Baker, right? You can do things to show your gifts, but how can I show my gifts if I don't know I have them? How do I show my gifts if I don't know that anyone else had them? This wild, crazy thing I'm thinking about, something like a video game, I don't know. Then you have somebody know about Lonnie Johnson, who invented the super soaker. You see what I'm saying? So I think that Black history is important because it pushes, it unlocks, it frees, and it pushes. You are inspired. You don't have to feel you're taking on something impossible, because all you got to do, I want to write a book. Oh, let me run down to you all the Black authors that have written books, even when it was illegal for Black people to read. So we can look at Lucy Terry, the first Black person to have a book published. See what I'm saying? So I just think that the history, I am passionate about it. I'm getting a little bit out of breath because
you get worked up. Oh
what
yeah.
I love. It's what I love. And I think, much to my sister's point, I almost feel like just the audacity that someone thinks that they're getting ready to squish this, that because of their own sense of insecurity, inadequacy, and guilt, that they feel we are somehow going to be banished, shamed, illegally, trespassing on talking about Black history. That's not going to happen. And I think that we have to push back. This is why it feels important. Not enough Black people go to school committee meetings. These on fire Caucasians, they're taking over the school committee meetings in their counties, in their cities, and the school committee is cowering because they got this great white force in front of them. Black parents need to go. If your kids are in that school, you're a taxpayer, go. And I would say to anyone that's listening now, if you're from Brockton, go to the school committee meetings. You'll be surprised what your presence does to change the dynamic. We do change the atmosphere. That's the Black person magic, changing the atmosphere. So
I love it.
I would just say, let's continue. We do teach the free Black history classes. People need to contact us. Right now, we are doing it through the middle school, but we are able to shape it. I feel fortunate that we assembled a great team. So we had Willie Wilson, Dean of particularly Brockton Black History, and Amina Pilgrim, Dr. Amina Pilgrim, teaching the adults. My Auntie Cookie, Gwen, and I, we took on teaching the middle school, and then made sure that the few high school people that were involved got taken care of. And then Stephanie, you, and one of my good friends, Linda, teaching the elementary. So right now, there are things that can happen. We want to make sure that history gets out. So that was the beginning of Harambee, that we are looking at education and culture. And we're fortunate in that there's another cultural organization that's beginning through Brother Greg Fernandez, that we're looking at finding some ways to partner, because
and to collaborate and come together.
More will help our children have more options. So we're looking at some good things happening. So
definitely. So 2 things you said that is a great segue right back on over to Auntie Cookie. One, you said about going to school committee meetings. I mean, I remember, and I'm gonna let you share your own information, Auntie Cookie, that you used to be there and be the only Black person there, or something would happen, and then you see everybody come with the pitchforks, and it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? And then I see the comments. We're going to drop all our information because our Black History classes will be resuming. There is a need for them, and so we'll make the time. And if anybody wants to volunteer to teach, this is another segue for you, Auntie Cookie, because you mentioned something amazing, that if we're teaching it, we better know it. So I do want you to speak on both of those things, just your experience with going to school committee meetings, not really seeing anything unless some drama. You know how we do, some drama, something was going on, then we'll come out in full force. And then the importance of those who have the burden of teaching must be able to really share what we know.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I had gone to school committee meetings for a number of years, and was the only person of color that was there. And I, witnessed firsthand what Jackie said about changing the dynamic of the room, even if just one, because they were not used to people of color coming, again, unless it was some type of problem. And there was a deputy superintendent many years ago that questioned the principal of the high school at the time, and asked if they knew me, if they knew this mother, and was wondering why I was there. I literally could hear the person and read their lips. They were that close, what they were saying. And the principal turned around and acknowledged me. And then the principal said, why are you here, Gwen? I said, oh, just looking.
Because they thought something was going on.
Right. We're
Exactly.
reactive as opposed to proactive most time.
Exactly. Yeah. They did not know why I was there. Like I couldn't be there just to be soaking up the information. So that's why the couple of times that I did run for school committee, because I wanted to be more at a policy level than just be a spectator, because that is where our children will really be affected in regards to the policies that will be coming up out of the school committee. Mm-hmm. What was the other question, Stephanie? I'm sorry, my love, because you took me back down memory lane with that with that school committee meeting.
No worries. I was all right. You going back down.
Those that are again.
Exactly.
Just the erasing of it. We have to be on guard at all fronts. Everything that happened, with the outcome of that was happening with George Floyd, like all these organizations and companies started putting up all these disclaimers about how their companies or organizations support Black, blah, 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 and do this. And everyone was out in the street, sometimes burning your own neighborhood and not realizing. Again, we get distracted over here. Oh, stop calling it master bedroom. Pancake boxes. I can't say that enough. That always gets me. So I bring that up constantly. Uncle Ben. Did any of that put any money in our community? And we can't celebrate hollow victories, because while we were marching and making a big deal about Pancake, Aunt Jemima, and Uncle Ben, people were forming groups to erase our history. That is more critical to me than Uncle Ben being on that box. That is more critical than Aunt Jemima being on that box. And the thing about it is, because we performed so about Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima, so now it's like, well, you must don't like that history. So we'll erase all of that history because you didn't like that history. See, we go put it back on us.
You know how it goes.
So here. So because I can't believe that people aren't speaking up in droves. I just recently saw that there are some Black mothers in Texas that are pushing back against this. Like, this is our history here. Like, we have people that have tread through the blood of the slaughtered. Okay? They are absolutely our ancestors. So much that they fought. Like, Carter G. Woodson would probably be rolling over. That man did what he did single-handedly. Can you imagine? Jackie just said we changed the dynamic with one. Well, we can put a whole bunch to flight with two. Can you imagine 200? 500. I mean, we have the power. I just think because we haven't been really in positions to do things, we get up in the end zone and it's like fumble. And it's like the foundation of our history is going to give us so much strength, and we are resilient people for a reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then those that are teaching it, it's like you got to know what you're talking about, and you have to be willing to be challenged and be able to be, to stand on it. Like, you can't have a flag raising and not even mention the colors of what they stand for, the red, black, and green. Like, they're just not some colors that Marcus Garvey pulled up out of a hat. He purposely chose these colors for meaning.
Please share what they mean. I mean, since the moment was missed. No, I mean, it just was. It is what it is.
Well, the red is for the blood, the black is for the people, and the green is for the land that we were stolen from. But then also the land that we helped build up here.
Exactly.
40 acres and a mule that we're still waiting on.
That land too. The green of what we're owed.
Yes. And the green that we helped develop.
The money that we're owed for reparations. That green got a whole lot of meaning.
It's multi-layered. It's a multi-layered green. It really is. And I think that's so important. I mean, that, it's like all these gurus popped up, right? Of I know this, I know that. But just like those who like, will evangelize the word. If you don't know the word, if you're put in a situation, that thing will tell on you. If you kind of have an understanding of it, Black history is the same exact way. If you don't know it, and if your feet are put to the fire and you can't pull it out, you need Google to get it. If that thing is not in you, if there's no passion, if you're just doing it for fame or fortune, it's our history. We cannot separate ourselves from this. We stand on the shoulders. That's all you told us as kids. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. But are we, you know what I mean? I want to stand on the shoulders. What happens when you stand on someone's shoulders? You get a better vantage point. Mm-hmm. Now it's just people standing at the same level, and we wonder why people are in such confusion, or there's like all this misconception of it. No, we got to keep it what it is.
Absolutely. You want to say something? Yes, I did. I'm going to say that for all the listeners, there are 3 books. Now, there's probably more, but so this is personal from me. 3 books that I believe every Black person that's serious about learning about our history, the reason why it's important, why we need to keep it going, and why it needs to continue to be taught, need to have. First, Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Mm-hmm. Miseducation of the Negro. Second, The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois. And there's a book, Cookie, help me. There's a book by a man named J.A. Rogers.
Africa's Gift to America.
Africa's Gift to America, J.A. Rogers. And then The Black Book by Middleton Harris. It is a book that has a foreword written by Toni Morrison. I don't know if this feature has chat, Stephanie. Otherwise, I ask that you put those names on our Facebook site so that people
you can keep going. I'm posting as you're sharing.
Okay, perfect. Those books, they changed my life, but in ways that I can only describe as I really felt empowered to no end. It also caused me to look a little bit more into even family history later, learn that we are related. Now it's more maybe indirectly, but it's research being done to the first Black baby born in the United States, James Tucker, born 1624, Jamestown, Virginia, to Isabel and Anthony Tucker, right? And the Tucker was given the name of the slave master. So we are connected. Lena Tucker was our great grandmother, and she is of their family. So there's a question of whether we're related to the baby or to the slave masters, somewhere in there. I wouldn't have known that had I just not said, I want to do the dig. So I would encourage people, learn your family's personal history. When Big Mama says, I don't really want to talk about that, no, talk about it. That'll help me know what you've overcome so that I can overcome. Talk to your grandparents. Talk to your great-grandparents. Read our history. That is where your strength, your encouragement, your power, and your ability to go forward will come from. We are built on faith. It is a faith that is built from knowing that it can happen.
Man, I'm sorry. I was still sharing the books, right? 2 snaps past the offering plate. I know everybody can hear the passion in both of you because it's in you. It belongs to you. You haven't separated yourself from history. You're not reading it as an outsider. Like, every time we take a breath in, we're celebrating Black history because every time we're alive, we're a part of history. And it gets kind of like, ooh, all the struggles that people went through. And then to see, just some people like, okay, squandering it or wasting it, like what we went through, or not voting or presenting themselves in a way that we know our ancestors would not like. And Cookie and I have had these heated conversations about, that her generation, kind of discarded the younger generations. It's a reality that happened, but we're in such a good time that we can bridge back what has been broken, and that the young people and older people too, because I don't want to just say it's young people who don't know, because there are some older people who don't know about Black history.
A lot.
No shame, no judgment. You don't know it? Awesome. Now is the time to get it, right? So Absolutely. Now we have a resource here that's teaching Black history. And we do these pop-ups, we do these lives to teach on certain things. Mommy, you mentioned, that Harambee was birthed out of Juneteenth becoming a holiday. And even that, it's like, okay, great and awesome. We thank you for that. But where are our reparations, right? Where is the recompense? And I know I'm feeling the same way. I'm like, great, we have a great holiday. Now it's commercialized, right? Now we're going to have 15% off for Juneteenth sales, right? Like you do for President's Day and stuff like that. So, I mean, great. We're
And
glad to have it. Martin Luther King Day and Black History Month.
20% off on his day too.
Now it's a sale. And I'm like, what are we doing? We were already celebrating Juneteenth, right? So, okay, thank you for making it a national holiday. Awesome. But like you said, don't pacify us with the foolishness. Give us things that are tangible. Help us, because so much was stolen from us. We're so far back. You know, when we're advancing, we're coming up. I'm not speaking anything, but we know what happened in this country. We know it was destroyed, but we won't let it die. We've made a commitment as a family. Listeners, I hope you can really hear that. We made a commitment as a family to keep Black history alive. We will not let this thing die. We don't care who tries to erase it, take it out of schools. We're going to put it in the schools. Mommy, can you speak on the initiative? If you can, I'm sorry, if you're able to, can you speak on the initiative that's happening, if that's okay?
Yes, it's unfortunate that we're pushed forward, but it has been slowed down. When I talk about structural racism, systemic, it is not a joke. It is not something that we're making up. So we are pushing forward, have hit somewhat of a brick wall. We'll see what will happen with this new gubernatorial administration. I'll just leave it there. But indeed, I am an optimist. And also I think, pot pit bull, right? I do not give up, particularly when it's such an injustice, right? When there's just no rationale. And I also want to say, when you mentioned about the voting,
Mommy, can you explain what the initiative is?
Oh,
please?
yes, to have Black history be incorporated as part of K through 12 curriculum in Massachusetts. Other states have done it. They've done it by executive order of the governor. It has not been something that was heavy duty. So I'm just putting a little bit on it now, because I do have a feeling sometimes don't tell people always what street, your parade, let them hear the music. So I'm just putting out there that some efforts are happening. And when I did mention, though, I want to go back to about voting. I heard you both say something. If there is a Black person that doesn't vote, I do not know what they're worth. I do not know. I don't know. When they say you're not worth your worth in salt, it's beyond that. If voting wasn't important, hint, hint, would the people be trying to stop? 43 states have, right after Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won, 33. 33 states introduced repressive voting rights measures to take away our votes. So that should give you a hint. Voting gives power. In the United States, you have a right to vote. That means that your vote can count. So it should let you know, do not squander it. I remember Auntie Cookie and I were walking around, and I know there's one girl, and Auntie Cookie asked her, why didn't you vote? I was just lazy. It took a lot for me just to keep going where I was going, just to keep walking. But I was lazy.
I mean, who says that out? Yes, I was like, does she realize she's saying this out loud? Like, there's some stuff you just be shamed to admit. But it was bad, and it made me just realize, like, my people are in a bad way, but on purpose, not on their purpose. Again, back to the systemic racism, back to stuff that, again, there's no way that you can believe is by accident, that you can go. I know when we took a group of kids on a college tour years ago, and when we went down in Baltimore, and the girl on the bus said, this must be where the Black people live, dilapidated liquor stores, check cashing places. And that kind of hurt my heart. But then it was a realization. I said, you can go from the top of Maine to the bottom of California and know where they live. Is that on purpose?
Yes. And the same conversation when I took Stephanie and them down to Texas, my son, he said this is probably where the Black people live, for the exact same reason. What the neighborhoods looked like. Mm-hmm. Didn't see any people, but the neighborhoods. That was the clue.
Not
by accident. This is not by. This is systemic. This is redlining. This has been designed. So when people talk about Black people, you always bring up race. Give me another reason, and then I'll bring that up. But until such time as it doesn't appear that everything is based in race, I will have to have that. And Stephanie, I'm just going to ask that. I know in the interest of my time, I'm going to be transitioning. So I didn't know if you could begin, because the thing is about 4 minutes long. And I know, Gwen, if you had something else, you wanted to say? Well, oh, what I will say, we are going to do the Black Cafe. So Stephanie, maybe more details will be that on our Facebook, because people can sign up 2 Fridays from now, not next Friday, but the following Friday, that we'd like to have a program where people will be talking about Black history. So we'll look to see from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is just an overview of Black history and how it started, and from two very passionate people, who live and breathe. I'm not going to say die, no, because they're very much alive. They live and breathe Black history. And as long as they are living and breathing, and if we had my Nana on here, she'd be passionate and hands scrunched up, her face all, how it goes. And she would be talking about it because she lived it. You know what I mean? So I am going to play the video, and then we are going to be done for today. But every Friday of this month, we are definitely going to do lives. And then we do, just throughout the year, we pop up because we're living Kwanzaa out this year, right? All the principles, everything. We're living it out all the way up until Kwanzaa, and then we'll keep living it out. And it just is a cycle that we keep going. So thank you both. You're so amazing and so wonderful, just for sharing. Everyone felt the passion. I hope everyone feels impassioned and energized and ready to rock and roll, because we will not let Black history die. We can't. There's no way. It's too rich. We've done too much. And we're stopping the lie that our lives started with slavery. What? We were kings and queens. We gave mathematics and how to plant and sow and all the crops. So we'll get into all that. We might have you both just teach, you know what I mean? Just kind of run through some slides for people who don't know.
We
you know
can
what I mean?
Stuff if we want to talk about Black inventors, and then maybe
Absolutely.
after that we can do we can do different segments. I mean,
that's it.
With the history of how it got started, and then we're going to show who kept it going.
Absolutely.
And why we need to keep it going.
Yes, I just want to say, people, buy Black. Buy Black. We are really supporting Black economics. Please buy the February, if no other month, all months, but for February, challenge yourself to go as many days as possible to buy Black. Support a Black business, small business vendor. We do have this young lady that does Buy Black Brockton. Just reach out to her website. Get to Buy Black, period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that. Absolutely. I was just getting the video set up.
Thank you.
I'm going to play this thing, and then we are going to be done for today, for this evening. But again, catch us. I just posted all of our information in the chat. So please like our page. We're posting little Black history facts, and we're tying them with Kwanzaa, as I said, because they're married. The two things are married together. And then we're going to have some events coming up. As my mom said, we're doing the Harambee Cafe. So if you like poetry, if you want to, recite something in there, do that, so that we have things available. People been looking for things and what to do. We're going to do this all year. This company is established to do that, to give our people a place to learn more about ourselves and really just flourish and grow. So I am going to play this video.
Which is it's based on the Black National Anthem.
Sure, which is the Black National Anthem. And then we're going to be done for the evening. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We love you so much. Thank you for your support and for chatting.
Next week, let's pick up about the song.
Absolutely.
It's a great way.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's a great way to introduce. We'll pick up about the song, how it was created, why it was created. And this is our national anthem. Okay. So this is what, if we were, at an event, we'd be standing up. Okay. Men would be taking off their hats because we give it the respect that it deserves. Okay. So let me go ahead and get this squared away.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me make sure I have the right one. Yes, okay.
Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe. Awesome.
Much
Um,
love.
what a wonderful way to end. We thank you everyone for tuning in. Please reach out to us if you want to know more information about Black History classes, and tune in for next Friday, God's willing. We'll be right here talking about Black history that we are not going to let die. We will not let our Black history be silenced. As long as we're alive, we're going to keep talking about it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Auntie. Love
You're
you
You're
welcome.
both, my
welcome.
beautiful
Thank
Black
Love
you.
to
queens.
both of
Come
you.
on. This is
Take
awesome,
care.
awesome. All right, take
All
care.
right.
We'll see
Yep.
you next week,
Bye-bye.
God's willing. Okay.
Bye.